It's the most wonderful time of the year. Hi, everybody. I was just thinking about, you know what? It's the holidays, and there are so many triggers that can happen, right? Like when you're around your family, it could be anything from frustration, anger, fear, if you have somebody difficult that, makes things challenging for you, or it could even be grief if you've lost a loved one, perhaps this is your first holiday without them. So, all of these things factor in and create our experience. Like, what are we bringing? What's the energy we're bringing? How are we able to show up? And if we're in any of those difficult emotional states, we are not able to be present. We're not able to respond and really enjoy and get the most of what's right in front of us. And it's not your fault if this is happening to you. You simply don't have access to that because think about it. Your subconscious mind, which is the part of your brain that's responsible for all the automatic functions like your breathing and your heart rate, digesting your food, is also responsible for keeping you safe. And if it thinks that, well, let me back up. If you are experiencing any difficult emotions, it doesn't know the difference between a raging lion coming at you and your mother in law going to criticize you. It doesn't know the difference. So it prepares you to either fight, which means, your arms and legs get strong, your jaw gets strong. So you can bite your mother in law really hard. I don't know that that would go over very well. Might feel good for a moment sometimes, right? Or flight, you can run, or if you freeze, that's essentially you want to hide. Those are not usually super useful. And when that happens, you don't have access to your compassion, your humor, your logic, any of the good stuff. It's all gone because that's secondary to survival. So, this video, I'm going to talk about what you can do when you get in these situations. Hopefully, before you get in them would be better. But if you happen to get in them, what you can do. So, I want to talk about what you to avoid, what to do more of, and teach you a few ways to calm down your central nervous system. If you're new to me, my name is Karen Seltz. I am a subconscious mind reprogramming expert, meaning, all this stuff that we're unaware of, I help you get it working in top shape for you so that you're not reacting to past stuff like, I know she's going to do this. She does this every year. Or whatever you're thinking somebody is most likely to do, that's based on the past. So we get that all taken care of, all that gunk, all that data put into long-term storage where it's no longer affecting you. And you have all your resources present and available to you. So, all right, let's dig in. So, what to avoid when you're interacting with anyone? Do your best to avoid having any expectations, even if they're negative, like I expect them to be jerks, or positive, I expect that they'll do the dishes. We had a leadership trainer, and she would say, expectations are premeditated resentments. So if they don't do what you said, you're like, resent them. But I think there's another way of looking at it too. When you have an expectation, you're setting yourself up for disappointment if they don't make it. If somebody doesn't meet your expectation, or at the very best, you're not disappointed, but it's never a state of, oh, thank you for doing that because you already expected it. So if you can avoid that at all costs, it's going to help you be much more present and much more grateful, which is what Thanksgiving is all about, right? So avoid expectations, avoid criticism. You didn't do it right. Or if you're going behind someone, you ask them to do something and you're going behind redoing it for them, that's a form of criticism. If someone doesn't do it the way you do it, that's okay. It's being willing to let go of that and let them do it in the way that works for them. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit and what to do, like setting yourself up for success. But avoid criticism and really be careful because it can look like a lot of different ways. And we are such clever beings, aren't we? And I know you're clever because you're watching this. So Sometimes it's very subtle, like, oh, you did it that way. It could just be the tone of your voice. Oh, what'd you do over there? Like, oh, just like could be subtle, it could be eye rolling, it could be size, nonverbal cues, but be careful of that stuff. Watch for it. Be present to your body and your nonverbals. The other thing to avoid is why questions. Why'd you do it that way? Why are you wearing that? All why questions that have to do with the past, even sometimes in the present, they evoke this defense mechanism in us like, oh, I got to fight. I have to defend myself. And a lot of times they can produce shame and guilt in people. So the only time to ask a why question is, why is that important to you? Like when you're digging into somebody's vision, like your why. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it's more like in the criticism family, like, why'd you do that? Why are you wearing that? Why? Okay. So here's what to do. Number one, self care. Make sure you are hydrated with water. If you can, limit your alcohol because you know what that does, right? It dehydrates you and it gives you less access to your brain, to your humor, your compassion, all the good stuff. Also, do your best to make sure you're well rested. And that means not just sleep, but if you're going and doing everything yourself and wondering why is nobody supporting me, well, it could be some of the above ones, like when people support you, you criticize or you redo it because they didn't do it the way you want. So do ask for support. When you ask for support, be specific, very specific. Could you please set the table with plates, knives, forks, whatever it is, like specific? Could you please mash the potatoes and make sure you include this? Or could you please carve the turkey and put the white meat on one side and the dark on the other? Like whatever it is, be very specific. And then make sure you show appreciation. Again, very specific. Thank you so much for following my instructions. I know I can be a lot and I feel really cared for because and listened to because you really did meet like exceed my expectations. Like be appreciative, be grateful, and be specific. Now, we've all been the recipients of praise or something when it's non-specific and it doesn't make a difference most for the most part. Like, you're so wonderful. Like, okay, why? Like anybody's wonderful, right? In some ways, but why? What makes me wonderful specifically? So be specific and be grateful when somebody supports you, even if they don't do it the way you want, they're still doing it from that place of supporting you. So be grateful. Here's a big one. It is okay to excuse yourself. If you can feel like the temperature rising and like, you know what I'm talking about? Like you can feel it coming on. Say, excuse me a moment, go to the bathroom, go to another room and practice some of the things I'm going to give you next. You can also phone a friend and say, oh my gosh, do you have a second? My friends and I would call it holding a bucket for one another. And what that means is like we hold the literal, no, figurative bucket. Please, figurative, not a real one. And we vomit like all our complaints, all our bleh, all the yucky stuff, all the stuff in our heads that we wouldn't want normal people to hear that weren't our very best friends, like that goes on in here, but we all have it. But sometimes you just need to get it out so you can have a clear space and then you can breathe or you can do the things I'm going to share with you. So if you have some of those in mind, if you know you are likely to get triggered, set those up in advance. Like, hey, what time might you be available? Should I be phoning a friend? Should I send out the SOS? So have those available and be available to your friends if possible. One other thing you can do is just focus on your heart. Just placing your awareness on your heart, or sometimes I like to place my hand on my heart. That helps me to really feel it in my body. And then breathe. Like imagine the air going into your heart and coming out of your heart. That takes you out of your head, out of the survival type emotions, thoughts, impulses, and gets you more centered and grounded. All right, so let's move on to what you can do if you get triggered. So how do you calm down your nervous system? One thing to remember is your breath is your friend. A lot of times when we get stressed out, we hold our breath, and breath is associated with personal power, but it also sends messages to that unconscious mind that you are not safe. And again, the same thing, your mother-in-law is the same as a raging lion to your unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference. A threat's a threat. So, one breathing technique I really like a lot, it's so simple. Just exhale all your air and then inhale through the nose for the count of 5. And it can be as slow or as fast as you need it. Then hold for the same count, but of 6, same pace. And then exhale slowly through the mouth. If you can close your eyes, even better, for 7. So it's inhale for 5, hold for 6, exhale for 7. And just do that for as long as you need to till you feel it like, and that one you can do in front of people, right? If you need to, you could like be just, you know, you can do that in front of people. If I make any noise like that, my daughter's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." She knows. One other thing that's super great. I wouldn't do this in front of people. They'll think you're insane. It's called whole brain posture. It's from Brain Gym. And it is a way of like taking your energy and putting it in a constant flow, because otherwise it stops and starts. And it's based on Chinese medicine acupuncture system, where you have all those points on you. So there are 14 main meridians in the body, which is the way the energy flows. And that's the points that an acupuncturist would be tapping into. You're going to put all of those meridians into a figure 8. So it goes like this. Your feet, you're going to cross them like this on the ground, whether you're standing or in a chair. Your arms in front, thumbs down, cross your hands, intertwine your fingers, then just tuck them in so they're right over your heart, and start breathing. I highly recommend closing your eyes, but you don't have to. So as you inhale, your tongue is going to go up to the roof of your mouth, right behind your upper teeth. And then as you exhale, just let your tongue fall to the bottom of your mouth with your mouth closed. And just do that for as long as it takes, but usually it's pretty quick, 30 to 60 seconds, and your nervous system will just reset like that. So again, you're doing that figure 8. If this is super uncomfortable, you can do like kind of like a corpse, like a Dracula pose, Dracula. And remember your feet on the ground and the tongue up and down, because it connects to the central meridian and the governing meridian, which are the main ones in the body. And then when you're done with that, uncross your feet so they're flat on the ground, and then just touch your fingertips just really gently together, and continue the breathing, tongue up on the inhale and down on the exhale. And do that. It's usually less than 2 minutes altogether, and you are good to go. That's one of my favorites. Okay. And then my ultimate favorite, that I don't know why it works. I want to do research on this. I tell people I have a sample size of about 30 people right now, but skipping. If you could skip, it does something in the brain. It just releases all these happy joy chemicals, serotonin, all dopamine, all the good stuff. Skipping like a child. I don't know why, but it works. I usually end up giggling. And if you could invite someone to skip with you, it would be even more fun. So those are my quick resets. And if you would like any support resolving the cause of those triggers, or if you're dealing with grief, I know it's right before Thanksgiving, but next week or even over the weekend, and you want support, I invite you to book a rapid resolution therapy session with me. They're super fast, painless, usually very fun. You can kind of tell my personality. I'm a little silly. I'm not silly if you're going through grief. Okay, let's just get that straight. But it will help you reset so that these aren't triggers for you. And then it will help you moving into December, the December holidays that we have coming upon us. And I will pop a link for that in the comments. I would love to hear your takeaways. What are you going to do? You might need to watch this video a couple times, take some notes. And may you have a beautiful and glorious holiday season, and really be filled with gratitude. Thank you for watching. Love you. Mwah.